Alright, welcome back to the Homestore Gourmet Butchers YouTube channel. So my name's Jared and I'm just going to run you through how we break lambs down in the shop. So this is just how we do it in our shop personally. There are other shops that will do it a bit differently. So we're going to go between the third and the fourth rib. There are other places that will do it between the fourth and fifth rib or so on. We find that for us particularly, third and fourth rib is the best. You get the best size forequarter and the most amount of cutlets out of your rack. There really is no right or wrong, it's just what your particular shop or what your needs are at the time. Then I'll move on to marking across the chumps, which is just above the lamb legs. So you can see my two marks I've made there. So just to have a closer look here, you can actually count back 3 ribs if you look inside the actual rib cage before you poke your knife through the ribs. So you can see there, that is in between the third and fourth rib. So as it comes to the chumps, the way I've done it is roughly an inch back from that little pelvis joint there you can see. So if you actually follow those 2 lines of fat down on that little corner just there, you'll pretty much make your incision or your cut right below that, which should line up directly above the ball joints. So if you hit that joint perfectly, you should be able to see the very tip of the ball joint and poke your knife into that gap, like so. Now, I mean, there is human error here, so you're not going to get it perfect every time, but you try and get it thereabouts. Okay, so now for us to remove the shoulders and the legs, I'll put them through the bandsaw itself. You can use a handsaw, it's just obviously a lot quicker in the shop to go through the bandsaw. I do get our apprentices to learn originally with a handsaw just to get the gist of it, and then they'll progress on to using the bandsaw later on when they get a bit more confident with it. Now you'll see here those little ball joints that I'm talking about, that's where you want to hit every time. As I said though, human error does occur and it's okay to be a centimetre either way. Now moving on to my barrel. So what I want to do here is split it down the middle. So to do so, I'll hold on to my lamb flaps and I want to line up the very centre of the bottom and the very centre of the top, and then slowly push it through. As I push it through, I'll be pulling my arms apart and spreading those flaps to allow it to separate. And if I do slip, I won't cut myself, my hands will move away from the blade. Then I'll just lay it on its side and I'll just whiz off those actual lamb flaps. Now they can be used for lamb ribs or trimmed out in most cases for lamb mince or lamb trim to go into sausages. Then you'll just clear out that kidney fat. If you do need the kidneys, you can keep them and obviously on-sell them, otherwise they'll go in the fat tub as well. Now to take this rack off the loin, I'll follow the last rib up and then go 1 vertebrae backwards from it. That way it gives me a good square cut off my loin and my rack, and then I can go through the 2nd vertebrae up from the tailbone to get the chump removed from the loin. Then it's just a matter of sitting it on its side to take the chine bone off the bottom of the lamb rack so that when you cut into cutlets, there's no bone at the bottom. So let's just have a closer look at how we process this and I'll run you through it a bit more in detail. So in taking this down here, I want to allow enough rib space for cutlets. I don't want to make them too short or too long. And then to remove that kidney fat, it's simply a matter of actually pulling onto it and it will just pull out. Now you can obviously pull that out and then keep the kidneys like I said. And that diaphragm muscle can be pulled out as well and then trimmed out if needed for sausage trim. So there we go, that's the last rib there on the rack. I'll go to that, follow the rib up and then jump 1 vertebrae back. I'll just mark that so you can see where that is. And then the same thing to remove the chump from the loin. I'll go to the tailbone and then go 1 vertebrae up towards the loin. So there you go, you can see that there, that's the last vertebrae there after the actual tailbone. And then I'll just simply repeat the same process that I did on the last side. Now to remove that chine bone, you want to more or less just run along the base of those ribs. It is a difficult one, you do want to be very careful here. Not only have you got your hands in close proximity of the saw, but if you do go too far the wrong way, you'll cut into your actual backstrap, which will ruin your cutlets. So there it all is there, ready for further trimming. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you can stay tuned for more on how to process the loins, chumps, legs and shoulders.